Have you ever wondered why some people start their spiritual journey with incredible enthusiasm, only to burn out completely within months? The answer lies in a principle that transforms how we approach our relationship with the divine. This isn't about doing less or being lazy. It's about discovering a sustainable path that brings genuine joy rather than exhaustion. When we talk about moderation in worship, we're not suggesting that Muslims should abandon voluntary acts of devotion or reduce their efforts in obedience to Allah. Rather, the concept means not burdening oneself beyond capacity or causing harm through excessive religious practice. True moderation means performing acts of worship without forcing the soul into reluctance or making it carry burdens it cannot sustain. The believer takes on what they can manage comfortably, what comes naturally, and progresses gradually until reaching the highest levels of servitude while maintaining the spirit of worship, love for Allah, longing to meet Him, reverence and glorification of His majesty. Moderation allows the worshipper to achieve the true essence of devotion. Consider someone ill who cannot stand during prayer but insists on standing anyway, fearing they'll miss the reward. They endure the physical act without tranquility or humility, never achieving worship's true purpose. But the person who practices moderation, who accepts Allah's mercy and prays while seated, finds comfort and achieves genuine humility because they understand Allah has excused them. Another magnificent fruit of moderation is consistency in obedience. How many people imposed extreme hardship upon themselves in worship, only to eventually give up entirely? They grew weary, stopped, and abandoned worship altogether. Ibn Mas'ud used to limit his voluntary fasting, saying it prevented him from reciting the Quran, which was more beloved to him. He knew excessive fasting would harm him and prevent him from enjoying Quran recitation, so he prioritized what was better for his heart. Allah says in the Quran, "We have not sent down to you the Quran that you be distressed." The Quran's teachings are mercy, guidance and healing for people's benefit. Some imagine that committing to obeying Allah makes life harder, but this comes from ignorance about Islam's true nature. The person who remains steadfast in obeying Allah finds the greatest pleasure in life through that obedience. As the righteous predecessors said, the unfortunate worldly people departed from life without tasting its sweetest part, love of Allah and His remembrance. The circle of permissible things in Islam is far wider than the circle of forbidden things. Allah has made lawful all beverages except intoxicants, all foods except what harms humans. Yet someone leaves these good things and consumes substances that destroy them. Who's really making life difficult? The person indulging their desires throws themselves into destruction, while the person steadfast in obeying Allah lives in true well-being. True honor comes from freeing oneself from worldly desires and becoming a servant to Allah alone. This religion contains only what benefits you and brings happiness in this life and the next. True worship means remaining steadfast in what Allah commands, 5 daily prayers, fasting Ramadan. This is the meaning of testifying that there is no deity except Allah and that Muhammad is His messenger. Allah says, Allah intends for you ease and does not intend for you hardship. This verse came regarding fasting and permission to break the fast for those ill or traveling. This applies to all religious commandments. 5 daily prayers aren't burdensome. 1 month of fasting per year. Islam's pillars are extremely easy. When you need a concession, you find them. If you're sick, you can pray while seated and break your fast. Allah does not burden a soul beyond its capacity. A narration from Aisha tells how the Prophet entered while a woman was with her who never slept at night in worship. The Prophet responded with admonishment, saying to take on only what you can sustain. By Allah, Allah does not tire until you tire. The most beloved religion to Him was what its practitioner maintained consistently. The Prophet warned against excess in night prayer, staying up all night without sleep. A Muslim sleeps for hours, then wakes for night prayer, strengthened by rest. But constant sleeplessness affects health and becomes unsustainable. As Imam al-Nawawi explained, Allah doesn't cut off your reward until you tire and abandon the practice. You should take on what you can maintain consistently so His reward continues. Allah doesn't tire. Of course, fatigue isn't among Allah's attributes. The expression here is rhetorical, meaning He doesn't stop rewarding you until you stop worshipping. The most beloved religion to Him was what its practitioner maintained consistently, as the Prophet said, "The most beloved deed to Allah is the most regular, even if small." Consistency produces love of Allah, keeping you daily in obedience and closeness to Allah. You never know when death will come. Let it find you steadfast, having maintained obedience, arriving in a good state. This differs from someone who worships Allah, then stops and neglects many acts of obedience, then returns, and so on. We ask Allah to help us remember Him, thank Him, and worship Him well. We ask Him to grant us success in what He loves and pleases Him. All praise belongs to Allah, Lord of the worlds, and may Allah's peace and blessings be upon our Prophet Muhammad and all his family and companions.